Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. We all know that life can throw all sorts of unexpected curveballs our way, and that is why for today's video I'll be discussing what I personally like to do when I take some time out for myself to look after my own well-being. Over the past year and a half especially, I really have learned just how important looking after myself is. So I now make the effort to take time out of each and every day to partake in well-being activities and techniques. Just before we begin today though, I'd just like to say that it takes a lot of time, effort, patience, and perhaps even some tears and frustration in order to work on yourself. I think first of all, it just takes so much inner strength to even admit that you have problems that you feel need sorting out. And then to take that next step and actually reach out is another story. It's to be expected that things won't always turn out the way that you'd hoped throughout your journey to becoming a better person. And that's when the tears and frustration will come into play. But that's okay. It's okay to sometimes be upset or frustrated with yourself, but remember that reinventing or even retraining yourself to be a certain way is difficult. And it's one of those things that just takes time. So don't be so hard on yourself and don't rush things. Also, I am in no way a professional, but I do hope that these things here on my list will help you in some way, shape or form. But please do not suffer in silence. During the wellness part of my day, I choose between one or several well-being related activities. For example, taking part in adult colouring whilst listening to some calming music, and so much more. So with that being said, let's begin my list. Now let's begin with a couple of calming techniques I learned from my medium intensity CBT therapy sessions. These two grounding techniques are ones that I've recently started to use in my everyday life and thought that they could be worth sharing. The first wellness technique I have learned is the sensory technique, which is also named the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. And this one is really good because it can be adjusted to do almost anything in order to fit in with your life. With this particular technique, whenever you begin to feel some anxiety, your aim is to use your senses and what is around you in your environment to calm you down. You first pick out 5 things that you see within the space you are in. 4 things you can feel, so for example, you can feel your hands resting on your legs or your feet touching the floor. 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and then you need to pick out 1 thing that you consider to be good about yourself. So for example, you can pick out a nice personality trait that you have. You can repeat these steps if you feel like you need to. I personally am finding this technique difficult at this moment in time, but I am persevering with it. The next grounding technique that you can use is the court case method technique. This sounded a little bit weird to me upon first hearing it, but once it is explained, it all makes sense. When you begin to feel anxious, your thoughts kind of run away with you and things get exaggerated. I know that all too well. So basically, when this begins to happen, preferably if you can pick up on these things before they get too out of hand, I feel like that's when this technique works best. The first thing to do is to identify what the distressing thought or fear is, and then try to figure out why it is bothering you so much. Then you have to think about how true this thought actually is. So for example, in my therapy sessions, one of my fears and thoughts is going outside and doing things by myself because I fear that something bad may happen, like for example, I may get attacked. The distressing thought would be going outside by myself, and the reason why it makes me so anxious is because I fear something bad will happen. After you have established this, the next step is to identify how true your thought or feelings are. You must only consider evidence that would be supported within a court of law, so only evidence-based facts and figures about your worries. The truth behind my worry is that yes, although people do get attacked, stabbed for example, every single day, the majority of the time you will be okay and you will get to where you are going safely with no issues. This particular part of the method can be difficult because often your opinions will get in the way of what is fact, so it's important that you separate the two. This is another one that I'm having some difficulty with at the moment, but again, these are techniques you need to keep up with. You cannot just do it once or twice and then give up because it isn't working. I know it's hard because this is the start of training your brain into thinking in a completely different and new way, but I hope that these methods will make sense to you, and I really hope that they could help you out. To continue, I'm going to delve deeper into the one that I mentioned just at the start of this video, which was the adult colouring books. I know a few years back these really seemed to skyrocket in popularity, and that's when I got my first adult colouring book. I do currently have 2 different colouring books for adults. I have one which is filled to the brim of cats designs. I use this one when I really want to spend time doing my best at the colouring, and when I really want to concentrate and really take my time colouring in, really just staying within the lines, not being messy with it in any way. And then I have another colouring book, which I turn to when I'm feeling like I just want to be a little bit more careless with my colouring, not necessarily stick to the lines, and just be a little bit more relaxed and messy with it. How long I colour for totally depends on how I'm feeling that day, and often when I colour I'll also put on some nice calming music in the background, which is meant to encourage creativity. It's just overall a really nice and calming experience. Moving on now to worry time, and this is a wellness technique that I again learned about through taking my weekly medium intensity CBT sessions. The goal of worry time is simple. You set aside a period of time within the day just to worry, and I know that probably sounds a little bit strange, but it's actually pretty helpful. You write down your worries, set yourself a time that suits you to worry about those things, and then you only worry about those things during your designated worry time. If a worry thought pops into your head at any other time of the day, you have to rid yourself of that worry, which of course can be difficult to begin with, but it does get easier the more you do it. You can install an app simply called Worry Time for free and do it that way, or you can go down the old-fashioned route and write all of your fears and worries down and manage worry time yourself. The end goal is just to reduce anxiety through not worrying as much, so each day is not taken up by worrying. This technique is all about patience and consistency. Again, it's one of those things you can't just do once and then never again. You have to be persistent with it and you have to keep doing it. When I need a quick boost in mood, I will listen to music. Artists and bands from many different genres and backgrounds all in one place. Sometimes I will listen to music that is purely meant to calm me down, but other times I'll be listening to music and I'll be dancing around and I'll be singing along. Music is a massive part of my life and it has had a large impact. So this is probably something that I do most often when I'm searching for a quick boost in mood. I tend to listen to music for around 4 hours a day depending on what I'm doing that day, and it always helps me out, hence why it's on my list as a wellness activity. This may not be everybody's cup of tea depending on your connection with music, but it is definitely on mine. Daily meditation is next up on my list, and this is something that I participate in every single day for at least 10 minutes. And honestly, it's amazing how much of a difference just 10 minutes of meditation a day can do. How long I meditate for depends entirely on how I'm feeling that day and what's going on. But regardless, I will always do a minimum of 10 minutes. I've been meditating consistently for over a year now, typically just before bedtime when I'm trying to settle down for the night. I used to meditate through using YouTube channels, but since November of 2018, so last year, I began using the Headspace app for all of my meditation needs. It is an app I definitely recommend to everyone watching this video, and perhaps one day I will end up doing an in-depth review on Headspace. But for now, if you're wanting to try meditation out, YouTube and the Headspace app are great places to begin. This video, by the way, is not sponsored by Headspace. Number 6 on my wellness list is yoga. Yoga can be very calming and relaxing or even energizing, and that's one of my favorite things about yoga. It is so incredibly versatile. Also, you don't need an insane amount of expensive gym equipment to partake in it either. For me personally, the more extreme side of yoga, more for weight loss, is a little bit too much for me. However, the calming side to it is very appealing just for the wellness aspect of it. Yoga isn't something I do daily, but I will do it when I feel like it is necessary. It helps with flexibility, movement, and even focus and concentration. as yoga requires you to concentrate on your breathing throughout, and it's something that can be adapted to your own personal needs. Number 7 on my list is incense sticks. Now, I personally believe that different scents have an impact on our thoughts and emotions, and this is why every night I make the effort to light up an incense stick in my bedroom and to just lay there and simply enjoy the scent. Who knows if there's any actual evidence for this sort of stuff, but I feel like it just helps relax me before bed, and I enjoy making the house simply just smell nice with all the different scents. There's such a wide selection of smells that you can choose from, and it can be a little overwhelming, but I just love to try out new scents. Number 8 is that I really enjoy on a nighttime using my Himalayan salt rock lamp. I love the light that comes off of these, and to me, they just give off this really nice, relaxing aura. Regardless if they actually contribute to making you feel better in a scientific light, because I know that there's some debate as to how much these actually help. But for me personally, I just enjoy the calming atmosphere it creates, and I honestly do think that they're great for using on a nighttime, just to chill me out before heading off to sleep. Also, I love the look of these things, so if I could just live in a house that had a few of these salt rock lamps in every single room, I'd be a very happy woman. I'll definitely be purchasing another one of these lamps in the near future. It's lovely to relax with the lamp on, some calming music, and just sitting there in a meditative-like state for a little while. It's very calming for me. Number 9 is creative writing, and that is something that I've done all of my life. I love, love, love to write. For me, writing is a great way to write down your feelings or to manage anxiety. It's great for escapism, but I know that not everyone will appreciate it, but personally, it's just what I like to do. Finally, there are also other things I do that have helped me massively, like breathing techniques, keeping a diary when I've had a particularly bad day with my mental health. I like to distract myself, for example, by playing video games. I did also used to get massages, which helped me a lot with relaxation, but now, because I don't have a boyfriend anymore, I don't have anyone who will give me full body massages for free. But saying that, they did help big time, and I am trying to get some money together to pay for a professional to give me a full body massage, and I am sure that they will be great because it's a professional doing it for managing anxiety. So hopefully at some point in the near future I will give that a go. So we are now coming to the end of the video, and I feel it's obviously important to mention that everyone is different and the core of people's mental health is unique. The way that people's brains interpret information is varied, and so finding things out that work for you personally can be a little bit of trial and error, which I understand can be difficult. But once you find things that work for you, then you're onto a winner. Just bear in mind that what works for me may not work for you. However, I still wanted to share this list with you, especially the techniques that I have learned from doing my CBT therapy sessions, as I haven't spoke about them here on my channel before. But I cannot say this enough. If you are struggling with mental health, please go and speak to a professional. I am not a therapist, nor am I a doctor, and I don't claim to be. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave this video a thumbs up, and if you are new here, click on that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope to see you in my next video.